Chapter 4, The Nature of Forces. Let's go! 2 years had passed with ease. By the year of the moon 218, as Daxter and Amber were as close as two people could be, they had known each other from birth. They were neighbors. Their mothers had become close during their pregnancies, and in fact they had shared the same birthday. Daxter had come from a family of butchers and hunters, while Amber came from a family of chicken farmers. They spent each and every day of their lives together. They did not only share a birthday and play dates, they even had the same tutors growing up. When they were little, Daxter would pick flowers for Amber, and he would tell jokes during class and act the fool. Anything to see her smile. And to this he never failed. Amber would in turn help him with his academics, as he was not so quick to learn such things. Reading, writing, and arithmetic came easily to Amber. She had an innate understanding of how things worked, and she was quick to learn and thirsty for knowledge. Daxter had grown up in a hard labor family. He developed a strong frame, and he had a dazzling smile and charming personality. Most women and some men were overtly kind to him. He was a natural flirt, though he believed everyone was treated with such attention. But even little Liliana would light up when he appeared, and she always seemed so devastated when he would choose Amber to dance with. And they were always dancing, even when no music was playing. Amber would often become jealous of the attention Daxter would receive from women. She often accused him of wanting to be with other women, but nothing could be further from the truth. Amber, however, had a low self-esteem. She would try to hide it, but I do not think she thought of herself as beautiful. She had a thin frame, thin nose, and thin lips, and even her eyes were slightly slanted, and when she laughed you couldn't see the whites of her eyes at all. Oh, but he loved her, with passion and fury. They would often fight. In fact, if they weren't fucking, they were fighting. It was usually started by her. She would start something and end up threatening to leave him just to see him fall to his knees and beg her to stay. When they fought, her eyes would fill with a fierceness and passion that was unrivaled. I think they enjoyed it. They overflowed with passion for one another. Or perhaps they just loved the drama. This I do not know. I never really understood their relationship. Their relationship was vastly different than Pelo and Celeste, who were always soft and loving and caring. They rarely fought over anything. I wonder how my father and mother were. My ideal would be someplace in the middle, loving and kind, without the loss of individuality. I assume every relationship is unique in and of itself. I was so scared that I would never know. I yearned to be loved the way my sister and my best friend were loved, to be cherished in every way. I see it, and I can feel the intensity, but it belongs to them. I want to feel it for me. I want to feel it for real, and not just through the eyes of those around me. In the hills of the mountain life, Amber sat watching a sunrise on a rocky shore, with her bare feet dipped in the calm waters as the colors around them changed from the first morning sun. Daxter skipped stones and told bad jokes, one stone, then two. When the third stone he picked up was a golden orange stone glistening in the sand. It had a fossilized scorpion trapped inside for all eternity, and picking it up he felt a shock of electricity that made him feel exhilarated. He could not wait to show her. He handed it to her, smiling with pride at his discovery, and he said, "I shall call it Amber, named after you, my lover, as nothing as I have ever seen has reveled your beauty, and it exhilarated me so until this moment," he had declared. He invited her into the water, where he bathed her gently, and then he laid her down on the soft sand just past the rocky shore. Her back arched, and the sun glistened over her naked body as he put his face between her legs, and a look of extreme pleasure came over her, but the stone remained gripped between her small fingers. And with this stone of amber she would design it into a necklace that she bound tightly around her slender neck with leather straps. And she wore this necklace always. She was with Daxter always. They would invite me to run and play from time to time, but mostly they sought out each other's company and privacy. As with my sister, I had lost a treasured companion to sex. What was the big deal about sex, anyhow? I had watched my sister and Palo more than once, and it just looked messy and painful. Then one day, at the top of a rocky hill, an argument ensued. One of the silly types, and they always were arguing over this or that, things that really did not matter, and I did not know what they fought about on this day. I found it strange that they could claim to be in love, but seem to agree on nothing. She once bit his arm. She broke the skin. He wore the wound as a badge of honor. I never understood their relationship. Perhaps I've never understood relationships in general. In fact, Amber herself could not tell you what they fought of on this day, or what she said to cause the story's end, only that she'd attempted, mostly in play, to show dominance over her lover. She stepped to her lover with her voice raised and her eyes intense, and she intended to slap his face. But he took a step back. One single step. And he fell off the steep slope, and his body tumbled down to jagged rocks, landing lifeless on the river shore. Amber ran to my house to seek my help, as I was her best friend, but I was not home. Celeste was there, playing with her stupid bird, in secret, when Amber arrived frantic and breathless. Amber's voice trembled through her tears as she begged Celeste to follow her. Celeste could not understand Amber through her tears, but followed anyhow. Amber led Celeste to the cliff base and to Dexter's broken body. Celeste immediately knelt to him and placed her hand on his chest and began to chant for his spirit to return. Amber read Celeste's thoughts and removed the necklace and then placed the stone of amber on his chest, begging for her lover to return. And as his spirit rose from his body, Celeste beckoned him and enticed him into the stone. And with a strong wind, his energy obeyed, and his ghostly spirit entered the scorpion. And his body lay dead as the girls walked away in silence and shock. Amber felt sorrow to her core, yet she could not cry. I think she could not fully process what had happened on this tragic day. But his spirit was forever trapped in a stone of amber, shared with the scorpion, that Amber kept with her always.
In the days following, the people of Alexandria searched for Dexter. Celeste and Amber held their tongues and gave vague responses to the questioning surrounding his disappearance. No one asked me of a thing. No one even noticed. I was his friend, too. I wonder if anybody would notice if I had been the one to disappear.
Dexter's body eventually washed ashore. I didn't witness it, however I heard it was a gruesome sight, and his body was bloated and green. The elders concluded Dexter had suffered a fall and drowned. They weren't completely wrong, I suppose. The funeral was held in the town circle, and all of Alexandria attended in solemn silence. I looked among the young and the old and realized the men aged so much more quickly than the women. By the age of 60, wrinkles would set in, and the color would start to leave the men's hair. By 80, they would walk slower and sometimes hunched over. There were no men over the age of 110. I believe Jonathan, the bicycle maker, was the eldest among us. The women, however, at 60, they looked no different than 30, and at 80, they were still filled with youth. The only originals left were women. I remember how they hosted the feminine celebration when my sister and I had started our menstruations, and how we sat and listened to them lecture on the originals, and how life had progressed. I didn't listen to their stories because who cares what life was like 200 years ago? But now, looking at their wrinkled faces and their hunched backs, I wondered if Amber would have looked at Dexter the same when he was old and wrinkly, and she still filled with youth. Now I guess we'll never know. We sat on polished wooden seats under a canopy of delicate violet petals. The grass felt lush and soft beneath my feet. Amber and Celeste both wailed aloud in front of this bloated body, shrouded in white linen and covered in flower petals.
Amber and Celeste were both elegantly dressed in gowns of lace that I had made. Black lace veiled their faces. We always wore veils to funerals, men and women alike. We also made ointments of mint, lavender, and lilac to cover the smell of the burning body. There's no word that adequately describes human flesh burning. It's not like a cow or a deer. It's an awful, wretched stench.
As the Shah lit his torch and placed it to the shroud, I looked to my sister, with Paolo hanging off her like a piece of jewelry, and to my friend, and they carried on loudly like babies in this melodrama they had created. I think they reveled in the attention they received. And I thought to myself, you've got to be kidding me. Amber and I failed to continue our friendship after that. She and Celeste would spend most of their days at Amber's, leaving me, once again, alone. I love these filters. So, as always, if you want more, like, subscribe, and I'll be back with chapter 5 shortly. If you can't wait, you can always pick up a copy of The Nature of Forces by Genevieve on Amazon. Link in bio. Okay, love you. Bye.